Business Takeout presents
The Cocktale Hour with L.A. Wade.
Hi, I'm L.A. Wade. Welcome to the Cocktale Hour, brought to you by Business Takeout. Now, I'm the new kid on the block, and I'm definitely the maverick of the Business Takeout bunch. However, I bring inspirational stories, tons of information, laughter, and fun to my show, The Cocktale Hour. Now, Business Takeout decided to do a recap video for 2021 of my most memorable moments. So I want to know from you in the comments below what your most memorable moment was for The Cocktale Hour. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let the countdown begin. Peace.
Yes, I love that about you. This is another reason why we connected. You're very visual, and your office setup. I thought you talked about your environment, and I don't think people in my audience may know that you literally work in a room that has a drive-up window like you work at McDonald's, except people are coming up. They're pulling up, not to buy weed, people, but to buy masks and clothing in a drive-through window. So tell me about the amalgamation and the evolution of that.
Okay, so that's a very interesting one. So do you remember like the first lockdown, and everyone was mandated, and especially small businesses, to close, and we sell this amazing apparel, and my girlfriends were like, well, I need a hoodie and jogger set now. I'm gonna be at home all the time. And I was like, well, you can't come in, but I have this window. Just pull up to the window. And I threw a bag out the window. And the minute I threw that first bag out the window, I was like, this is a great idea. This is a drive
moment. That was the aha moment.
That was my aha moment. And so I grabbed one of the guys from the dealership, and I'm like, let's just do like a cute little social media like video, and we'll, put it online and see what happens or whatever. And I had people that were like, this is ridiculous. Do not do this. And I'm like, no, yeah. And there was like a reporter from a local little paper that she did an article on it, and then it snowballed. And then the larger newspapers, and then City News and CTV and so much CBC. There was so many people that had picked up or just even wrote about it or whatever it was about this girl that created this drive-through in a pandemic. And we were also named like one of the coolest 100 pivots in a pandemic. And we had amazing people come through this drive-through, and it's been awesome.
It's interesting that I met you in the capacity of real estate agent, because really what you are is a real estate investor. And it sounds like that's how you even started with real estate. Most people start in real estate to buy their home. You slipped into real estate to invest.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't even know what I was doing at first, but when I started after London, then I it was a family member that wanted to essentially wanted some interest on their money, right? So I was like, hey, okay, well, maybe they want to do the same thing that I was doing in London, because it was fully managed and everything. It was very turnkey, right? And I liked it because I didn't have to go down. I never saw the property, only from pictures, but I got the rent every month, right? It always hit my account. Mortgage and expenses were paid. So then I was like, hey, maybe I should do this. I was like, you know what? Before I do that, let me go pay a visit to our man Isaac over there. So he was like, hey, you know what? I got this property, and he said a whole bunch of stuff that I couldn't grasp.
Right.
But I was like, hey, let's do it, is what I said, right?
Wow.
So again, I was able to use that, but I did have a plan though for that, for those funds, an entry and also an exit strategy. So I knew that, if I use these funds to buy that, and I was able to use, I think it was 10,000 or 20,000 at the time to buy 2 assignment sales, right? Condos
you have
in
an
downtown
investment
Toronto.
mindset.
I didn't realize at the time.
You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't realize what all this was. It was later I started cluing in. I was like, wow, okay, if I do this then I had to become a student and start learning what these things really mean. But what I will say is it's very important the people you have around you. And that's the whole point, because the people who you have around you will automatically rub off on you. So whether you fall into success by accident or whatever it may, or if it's the opposite, it will eventually rub off on you. Because
Right.
while in the bank, I was casually just talking and said, when I'm talking with friends and we get onto that topic, I was like, oh yeah, they have a few properties downtown Toronto, and like their reaction was kind of like, what? How? You're only 24, or like, how's that
I
possible?
remember that
Yeah,
was around the time that you guys made that donation to the university.
yeah, possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
So and it's because I was around it and I'm getting information from people around me that are doing this and
Right.
being successful in it. So to me, it was kind of like, well, that's what should happen,
It was
right?
crazy that the organization Dreammaker Realty it's a special place,
Yeah,
and real dreams become a reality. And it seems as though when you guys did what you did and it created that spark, you've been able to manifest in the spirit of wealth, generational wealth. You literally manifested a company that not only is dedicated to that, but that is actually doing it.
right, absolutely. And that was Isaac and his father's view as well. And how do we create generational wealth within our community? Because when you look around, there are certain things that you see and that other people from other communities have access to and are able to accomplish in a short amount of time.
Right.
But within even in terms of home ownership, right?
Right.
It's not that high in our community, right? So just creating something that will now provide them with access. And what I later I did mention that I had to become a student. So what I found out was it's not that our community doesn't want to do this. It's
Right.
because the knowledge and the financial literacy, the information and the education is not exactly there, because a lot of us are either maybe first generation, or sorry, second or third generation. So
Right.
our parents came here, but when they came here, they hit the ground running, because like, listen, I have a family to that I need to take care of
Mm-hmm.
and fend for. So investing wasn't really their first top of mind. That's
Right.
our job now, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
So they created a path for us to have clothes on our back, to get educated. Now we take the baton and we now add onto that. So we need to start. We have the time. I would say, relative to what they went through, we have the opportunity to seek out the necessary education that we need to achieve this and to apply it, right? And then
Yes.
to our children and the next generation will now take it and add on to that. And it's just exponential growth after that.
Right.
Every other community, that's how they started. I mean, when they came here, they started businesses, or they were, just trying to work hard to take care of their family, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then when we get to a certain point, we just build on that. And I think that's very important.
I love it.
Okay, so when you were talking about strong women and how that clicked for you, and you became more emotionally attached to the directing of Nigel Wise, or the idea of what we're doing, you yourself are a strong woman. And so what are the things that have been your story about what's made you strong into the director that you are today?
So
What is your reality TV story?
I feel like, like it's the basic stuff. It's like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's
Well,
first,
so was ours, but you made it interesting. So come on, we want the juice.
but what's that to tell, right?
So what makes you strong? Because you clearly are. What, having your son? What was it? The father being there or not being there? Because sometimes when they're around, they can be just as annoying as Abby's.
Do not go through the corners. Just ask me what you want to ask me. Anyway, I'm just kidding. So yeah, life basically. You know what I mean? Like life.
No,
You know?
you're not saying anything.
Yeah.
This is
So
what you would do on Fit with us. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
oh my God, Ellie, I can't believe you're doing this to me. So the director cannot even be directed. Oh my God. Okay. So okay, yeah. So basically, well, why I say life is because it's a collection of 1,000 little things, right?
Okay.
1,000 things that life just throws at you, you know, and you pick each and every one of them and you make them a brick and brick after brick and brick
For
after
example,
For example, having my child by
okay, 5
myself.
years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by myself and making a hard decision of living here permanently, like just moving out of Nigeria and all of that, it wasn't easy. I'll tell you that. Like when I got to Canada, at some point, I told myself, this is the worst decision you could ever make. Pack your shit and go back home.
Back to the person?
Yeah, just back to
Back
maybe
to
the person, maybe Nigeria, but just away from my present reality at the time, which was hell.
Right. What made it challenging moving from Nigeria to here?
Yeah, because I was alone by myself in a new country. I knew nobody. Not necessarily knew nobody, but like had nobody by you. You know what I mean? Like back home, you have everybody. Like, you know what I mean? Like back home, you're like, hey, my mom is there. Oh, my sister's here. Blah, 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 blah. And you're okay. You're in your comfort zone. But then here you are in a country that is cold as hell. Let's not forget that.
It's cold.
Cold as hell, and you have a child and you're confused. You don't know what the hell you're doing because you're a new mom, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you have no experience in being a mom.
Mhm.
And the little while you had your child, you were with your actual mom. So you didn't even have time to be a mom by yourself. And here you are, the first time you're being a mom is in a strange country.
Have
And you
you
had
ever
no
been here
idea what you were
before?
doing. No.
How do you inspire people? Because how many other women or people have been in your shoes where they move somewhere and they don't know anything?
Yeah, that's very true. And especially when you're in a relationship where you know it's not the relationship you should be in.
Right.
And you just want to
But you put yourself and your son first.
I had to put my son first. So even when I wanted to go back, because I didn't put myself first, even when I want to go back, because I'll be in the train station and I would cry and cry and cry. And there was this day I actually cried. It was cold as hell. I cried so much, asking myself what I was doing in this train country when I had an amazing life back home. You know what so I thought. And I cried and cried. And at some point I was like, but I'm supposed to be doing this for him. And he was in a stroller. And I opened the blanket and I saw he was sleeping so soundly, so peaceful.
Oh.
And I cleaned my eyes. I was like, I think I'm doing this for him. You know what I mean? 'Cause for some reason, if he was awake and maybe cranky, I would be like, I know. This is
Or you were both upset.
You know what I mean? And I think that was it for me. That day was it for me. And that was the day I decided, you know what? I'm here now. Shut up and do what you have to do.
A politic to everything,
Right.
right? Politics is everything in politics. There's even a politic to crazy, you know?
Definitely.
And as long as you don't color outside of the box, then you're considered sane and, you know, and manageable and controllable.
Right.
Right. But if you color outside of the box, or if you think outside of the box, then Houston, we have a problem because now you become a threat to the system, to the status quo.
Right. Right.
And so you learn to maneuver outside of the box, you know, and that's exactly how I've lived my life, outside of the box. And I don't allow myself to be pigeonholed or controlled by the system or anyone else.
I feel as though outside of the box is where genius lies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Genius is outside of the box, but it's inside ourselves, right?
Yes.
And
Oh,
when we talk about, you know, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So when we talk about the Genius is Common movement, then I'll go more in depth about that.
yeah. Well, just no time like the present. And here's what I get from what I understand from what you just said, which I love so much, is that to be genius is outside of the box, but it's also within us. And I think that I call that, when I speak to that, I call it truths with a capital T. There's just certain things that regardless of what you believe in or what you're going for, there's just a truth that resonates with an alignment within you. And it sounds like genius is both outside, because it needs to be an outside inspiration, but it originates from within us.
I mean, the thing is this. This is my take on that. The genius that's in us is the God in us.
That's it.
Right? And the God in us is everything that governs us. That's why God says in the Bible, lean not towards your own understanding, acknowledge him in all your ways and he will direct your path.
Yes.
Right. So some of your audience might, wonder like, well, who is Bruce George? Well, let me answer that question. I'm a lover of God. I'm a child of God. My work is my ministry. I'm a social activist. I'm right brain and left brain. I specialize in psychology, philosophy, classic literature, neurolinguistic programming, metaphysics, body language, the law of attraction. I specialize in power. I'm a wordsmith, word engineer, and a master quotologist. And so the Genius is Common movement actually got started for one of my quotes, because I would go around the country and I would ask the youth, when you hear the word genius, what image comes to mind? And they would always say Einstein or a light bulb. And every now and then, LA, I would get a Jordan, and that troubled me. And I said, you know what? Let me write a quote about that. And the quote is, notwithstanding Einstein, genius is common. And then I turned into the slogan, genius is common, which turned into an entire movement. Praise God, as we speak, we have a presence in all 50 states, 15 countries with 31 ambassadors and growing.
Wow.
God is great. We have a presence in Jamaica, Barbados, Ghana, Kenya, Dubai, Norway, Nigeria, the UK, Canada, Bahamas, St. Lucia. We're about to have a presence in the Dominican Republic and Panama. You're talking to the head honcho. I run everything and I own everything, the trademark, the copyright, everything, you name it, I'm running it.
Okay, we're getting close to the end, so I just want to make sure that we talk about this. When I say the word Sasha, what comes up in your heart?
That's my little munchkin.
It's written all over your face. In fact, I think I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, that's my greatest gift. That's why, that's what motivates me. My daughter, and I that's the love of my life.
The love of your life. The only women would love to hear Terry L. Cyrus say that to them. Well, they can't be with Sasha.
Listen, that's my heart right there.
That's beautiful. Okay.
I ain't gonna get teary-eyed.
Okay.
I ain't gonna do it.
Well, she has her own show, and you're helping her, kind of transition into this industry. So, when you talk about supporting a woman and making sure her work precedes her, in a sense, you're already, you're making sure that that's intact. Right.
Yeah. I want her, she's 8 years old, and when she had a conversation with me about, and I'm sure she had no idea what she was saying. She was, I think at the time, 6. She was like, Daddy, I want to be famous.
Oh, wow.
And I can remember, and it tapped into something inside me, because I can recall wanting to be famous at an early age, but being in West Virginia where being famous wasn't a realistic possibility.
Right. Exactly. But for her.
Right. So for her, when she said that, it took me back to my childhood. And I'm like, you know what? Anything I can do to get her to understand and realize that if that's what you want, anything you want to do, and like the tagline in her little show, if you can dream it, you can achieve it.
All right.
And I wanted her to see at the ripe age of, I think we did our first episode when she was 7. I want her to understand and realize whatever you want to do, it doesn't have to be entertainment. It could be medicine. It could be education. It could be law. I want her to realize not only her, but all of her peers, with the children of tomorrow, the generation that's behind us. I should say Gen Z, because she's a part of that Gen Z demo. I want them to understand and realize that anything you want to do is possible. And I think a lot of times we put limitations on ourselves because, well, it's too difficult to do this. Well, I would like to be a doctor, but maybe I'm dyslexic. You can still be a doctor, or I would like to go into I would like to go into, let's say, the field of finance and become this big titan on Wall Street. But I may have certain limitations or whatever the case may be. Or for me, I wanted to, I want to go into entertainment, but it's the who you know business, and I don't know anybody.
Right.
So if you put in the work, if you put your best foot forward, and you allow God to guide you, and you find yourself walking in faith and purpose, anything is possible. So I want her to see that at her young age, because my dad and mother, they taught me so many lessons when I was growing up. One of the things my dad taught me, and this stuck with me to this day, this is another one of my stalwarts. Like, if you start something, don't quit.
Right.
So
you start.
So for me, he told me that when I was probably Sasha's age. And my dad, he has like a real gruffy voice. He's like, boy, listen, you start something, like I say, you start something, don't quit. I don't see what it is. So I was like, oh, okay.
Right. I'll listen.
Yeah. So my dad, that really stuck with me.
That's
like,
beautiful.
Okay, whatever I start, whether it's a project, whatever I commit to, it may take me a while. It may take me 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. If I commit to something, I'm going to see it through. And it's not on my time, it's on God's time.
Right. That's the part, right? Patience is a big deal. But you talked about trusting yourself. And I just started to do this reality TV show called The Nija Wives of Toronto. And so I'm, in a sense, acting like myself. But I recognize how much I censor myself, even though it's reality. And in other parts, I'm exaggerating myself. How did you use your trust to become a better actor? Because sometimes a scene is going in a certain direction, but I can feel myself pulling back because I don't know how the optics of that is going to, turn out. Do you ever censor yourself?
Yeah, not it. I censor myself based on the character.
Okay.
So if the character doesn't censor himself, I love that, because now I can put every part of me into that character. But if there are some certain and there are some things where the character is nothing like me, and I have to go out and experience